Today I'm having the same feeling as in February 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine, but today the reason is different. The special military operation took a U-turn and we are witnessing a military coup that was started by Evgeny Prigozhin, the head of Wagner Group private military company.
Нас 25 тысяч, и мы идем разбираться, почему в стране творится беспредел.
Similar to the last year, I woke up just to read this breaking news and feel a great level of frustration. Right at the moment we have a situation when news come every given minute and people can do nothing but just watch what is going on there. In today's video I'll try to give you a picture of what's happening inside Russia right now. First I'll talk about the facts that we surely know, then I'll show you how Russian state media is portraying this situation to their people. There is definitely some miscommunication about that, and by the end of the video I'll share some of my personal observations on this issue. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Niki. I'm originally coming from Russia, but last year I left my country and right now I live kind of around the globe. On this channel I make videos about my life in and out of Russia, and if you subscribe to my channel you'll make my day a little bit better. Thank you! So, what do we know about the military coup at this point? On Friday morning, Evgeny Prigozhin posted a video in one of his Telegram channels, basically having an interview, a 30-minute long interview about what is happening there in Ukraine related to the war of Russia and Ukraine. And the stuff that he said in that video, it alone would be enough to claim him a traitor of Russia and put him in jail for like 10, 15, even 20 years.
Шойгу живет по принципу, чтобы в ложь поверили, она должна быть чудовищная. И поэтому идут обманы. То руководство Минобороны, оно тщательно обманывает президента. И президент получает те доклады, которые никак не соответствуют действительности.
Later in the evening of Friday, Evgeny Prigozhin posted another video, and according to his words, his Wagner group was attacked by Ministry of Defense of Russia. Basically what Prigozhin said is that the Russian Minister of Defense, Sergei Shoigu, left Moscow and arrived the city of Rostov-on-Don, basically to eliminate, to terminate the Wagner group.
Министр обороны специально прибыл в Ростов для того, чтобы провести операцию по уничтожению ЧВК «Вагнер». Он использовал артиллеристов и пилотов вертолетов в темную, чтобы нас уничтожить. В 21:00 он бежал трусливо, как баба, для того, чтобы не объясняться, зачем он поднимал вертолеты уничтожать наших парней, зачем наносил ракетные удары.
Later, during the night, there was a series of updates from Evgeny Prigozhin about what is happening there, and basically he said that they are going to revenge for Wagner Group and for the entire population of Russia. They are going to save Russia from corrupted and unprofessional officials. Rostov-on-Don was taken by Wagner Group, the city was flooded with unknown military people, and first we didn't even know who exactly those people are. Are they like parts of official Russian army? Are they part of Wagner Group? Nobody could tell. But later we got the news that Rostov-on-Don, the huge Russian city, was controlled by Prigozhin. Meanwhile, Moscow and a few other Russian cities got into defensive state. Rosgvardia flooded the streets and police got alerted as well. They raided Wagner Center in St. Petersburg and started to do something to other locations that somehow had some relation to Evgeny Prigozhin. Then the highway from Rostov-on-Don to Moscow was blocked by a Russian army, and civilians were suggested to stay home, not going anywhere, especially not taking that road from Rostov-on-Don to Moscow. Then it was about morning time in Russia, people started to wake up and read the news and ask like, what is going on there? I also got a call to my mom, who lives in the city of Omsk in Siberia. It was about 8 or 9 a.m. in her time, she was awake, and I was like, how do you like the news? Have you read what is going on there? My mom didn't know the news and she tried to like see it on TV or maybe Google it on her computer, and she didn't find anything, which is a really concerning sign about how does Russian government communicate about so serious issues to their people. Let's actually see how this entire situation is being presented by Russian state media, what do our officials say about that, and most importantly, what does our lovely president, Mr. Putin, has to say about this military coup. Actually, let's briefly see what Western news say on this issue, so then you'll see a difference in information delivery. I see that first headlines were very careful at calling it a military coup or armed rebellion, but generally the information you can read in your countries is pretty much true, but still very general at this point. And I was able to see all these sources at one place on this ground news website. It's a platform that I started to use last year after I got more interested in following the global news. And ground news is perfect for understanding how international stories are being covered across the globe. And not only I can compare the news headlines, I can also see extra information on the news sources, such as political bias, ownership and factuality. When I hear something big has happened in the world, ground news is my first step to learn about that issue. Like if I want to read some updates on Russia's Ukraine war, I go to ground news and I just search for that. And first I see top news about that, then blind spot section, which is an interesting feature that shows which news stories are being underreported by the left or the right. And then there is lots of recent stories that I can scroll and find the ones that catch my interest. Like I did today with Prigozhin's military coup. I wanted to see how does foreign media cover this story. Go to ground.news/Niki Proshin to check it out, and if you subscribe before July 5th, you will get unlimited access to all the features I showed you today for as little as $5 a month. So every time when I want to see what's going on there in Russian news, I open this website. It's the biggest Russian news channel, Первый канал, the first channel. They do have very nice library of their news reports. I literally can see every single one with tiny highlight of what is being said in the news report. So the first news came about our today's issue happened at night at 1:25 a.m. and here it says "Новости специальный выпуск," which means news special report. It was rather short and it was just information coming from this lady reading the script. 1 hour after this special report we saw a short speech of this Russian general, and only in the morning at 10 a.m. we got a full-scale news report on the issue. 3 headlines on this report is President of Russia Vladimir Putin has a speech, a criminal case is opened against Evgeny Prigozhin, the head of Wagner Group, and in Moscow City, Moscow and Voronezh region there is a counter-terrorism operation going on. So let's have a look what is being said in this news report. I wonder how much and what exactly they say to people of Russia. Hello, it's news time on the first channel. We will tell you about the most important events right now. At this moment we are receiving a statement from the president related to the events of last night in Rostov region, and that's what Vladimir Putin said.
Обращаюсь к гражданам России.
So Putin basically said that right now Russian people should be united and that we are living in historical times when we are basically deciding the future of Russia. And then he literally compared the situation today with the situation of Empire Russia in 1917. He said that Russia was winning in the First World War, but then certain individuals started a military coup in Russia, in Empire Russia, that basically destroyed the country, destroyed the Russian Empire, and that's what he is referring this very day. Perhaps he also feels that his empire is being destroyed or anything like that. I don't know. Let's continue. What we are facing is betrayal. Unreasonable ambitions and personal interests led to the betrayal of the country and the people. As the President of Russia and the Supreme Commander and a citizen of the country, I will do everything to defend our country, protect the constitutional order, life, security and freedoms of our citizens. So I actually watched the entire episode of this news report, and the impression that I got is that Russian government basically lets people know the very basic line of events. They don't share any specific details on where is Wagner Group is staying right now, what are they doing, and there was also no details on how Russia is trying to solve this situation. Basically, they do say a lot of very general stuff, but one thing they cover in details, in great details, even when they talk about Evgeny Prigozhin, they provide a lot of details on why his words is alive, so I can imagine myself being an old Russian babushka, a granny, and if I wanted to know what is going on there in my country and I tune into Russian state TV, I will not be able to learn anything useful about that. Fortunately, we do have some independent media in Russia, or media who write about Russia while staying outside of Russia because it's too dangerous to stay in. So we have such media and we could follow the situation precisely with them. The way Russian people are getting updates on today's situation is basically Telegram channels. I personally follow this Varlamov News and they cover the situation pretty neutrally, just showing the facts. I also have a public Telegram channel about St. Petersburg. They started to write a lot about today's events as well. So certainly there is a way to learn what is happening there in Russia. Today I'm recording this video Saturday 24th June. Right now is 5:53 p.m. and let's say 15 minutes ago we had this video from Voronezh.
Это 28-й все-таки, смотри, полетел. Пошел! А он еще и ловушка!
That's kinda crazy to see such kind of updates, but that is what is happening in Russia right now. The situation is still ongoing and we literally receive updates every given minute, so maybe by the time you watch this video the situation is entirely different or developed in the way that we cannot even imagine now, I don't know. Now let me share some of my personal thoughts on this crazy day. I'm actually recording this in the evening, a few hours after I recorded the original footage. I had nice day here in Cambodia, my first day here, and I'm just back to my room. I gave myself some time to think over the events of today, and honestly it's still quite confusing for me. Actually, not only for me, for most of people in Russia. This morning I saw a lot of conspiracy theories about what if Prigozhin just plays that, what if it's just a big act for some reasons that we just don't know. But then, as the day shows, this situation is not an act at all and things are pretty damn serious. From one side, it's kinda good that Putin's regime is dealing with a big problem and right now it's not 100% certain that they can deal with that actually. And from the other side, we actually don't know who is the bigger evil, Vladimir Putin or Evgeny Prigozhin at power. This guy is crazy, and also he's quite creative, the last year showed us, so nobody would ever guess what exactly will happen to Russia if current regime will fail and Prigozhin obtain more power. Another thing that I realized today is that we couldn't really guess that the events of this day actually will happen in Russia, at least this given month, this given day, but actually the events of last year and the events of this year kind of predicted this situation. Evgeny Prigozhin was getting a lot of power, a lot of influence during the last year, and Russian government blindly let him do that. And at some point, I guess our government realized that he is getting too much power, too much influence, and then tried some stuff to deal with that. For example, recently Russian government introduced a new law saying that ex-prisoners, and actually current prisoners, can join official Russian army, which was not the case before. That's why last year prisoners were joining Wagner Group, not Russian army. And right now, when the law is approved, they kind of don't need Wagner Group for taking ex-prisoners anymore. They can officially take them to Russian army. I think that the fact of us witnessing this military coup right this day is kind of result of Russian government's intention to limit Prigozhin's power. And this one is just my personal guess, but I think Prigozhin just had two options: either to give up control and kind of disappear, either metaphorically, getting retired, or even physically, getting murdered. Thinking about the events of today in this way make me realize maybe that was his only chance actually to stay in power, to use this armed rebellion as opportunity to even grow his influence. This situation is still ongoing, and every 5 minutes we have some updates about what is happening there, what is happening here, with photos and videos from real people who are witnessing the events. Fortunately, none of people I personally know are actually staying around any of dangerous areas, but who knows what is gonna happen tomorrow. For me, it feels like a deja vu from February 24th last year. Same feelings, same emotions. I just stay far from the place where actually things happen right this very moment, and I just scroll the news, update the news, and try to know what is happening there. I guess we'll have more information on that tomorrow. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope you found this video useful. If so, go subscribe, go click that like button, and if you want to support me and my channel even more, please consider joining my Patreon or YouTube memberships. Спасибо and пока.